fail as much as possible. No one ever talks about this, but it has single-handedly changed the way I think about cubing, and you can also be rewarded using this advice. Let me just quickly explain what this means. It is not uncommon while solving a cube at home and in competition that you make mistakes. An example here is that I am doing the first step of the solve, the cross, but when I align it, the red, white and orange, white pieces are in the wrong place. This is going to take extra moves, which has already ruined my solve. And now there is no chance of getting a good time. So at this point, I've decided to make more mistakes. What I'm going to do now is try and turn as fast as possible. Obviously, this means that I'm going to lock up and make more errors due to turning so fast. However, as we all know, you learn from your mistakes. So by turning faster, I am learning more than if I just continued with the solve normally. And as I already ruined the solve from step 1, there's no point me trying to make it better. I might as well just make more errors. And essentially, that is one of the best ways you can improve. But that's not quite it. There's certain steps that you have to take to benefit the most from this method. I've refined these over many weeks to make sure it is the most efficient process for your practice. But first, let's talk about the negatives and how you can change these to stop them becoming a thing. Muscle memory is one of the main things that results in the fastest solves. However, it can be detrimental using this method. If you train yourself to constantly start failing as soon as you make one mistake, it will negatively impact competition solves as you will be accustomed to push yourself faster than you can go. This means that you should make sure you have separate practice sessions where you fail as much as possible, whilst also having sessions where you persevere even if you make mistakes. This means that you will still gain massive amounts of improvement from this method, whilst also not becoming too complacent when solving the cube. This is something that happened to me in the early stages of developing this idea, as I couldn't get out of the habit of consistently failing, which meant that even during focused competition-like solves, I would further ruin my times by pushing too hard. This is obviously not good, as you still need to develop the skill to be able to save a bad situation to get a somewhat positive result. However, I lost this ability for a while due to overusing this method. So whilst this is extremely powerful, make sure that you don't overuse it, as it can be detrimental in the long run. One of the best things that you can do is trying new things. Often it is difficult to change your methods, as when you learn something, it is hard to unlearn it and learn something new. However, with this method, you can try out new things where there is no risk at all. Let me show you an example where once again I've messed up the cross. So I'm going to fix that. But now onto F2L, where I'm going to try something new. Ordinarily, to solve this pair, I'd have to do one rotation and then insert it. However, what I could do from this position is do a wide F move and then insert it like that. This reduces the need for an unnecessary rotation and inserts the pair. Obviously, ordinarily, I wouldn't want to risk a solve by trying something new. However, there's no risk in trying that in this type of solve. Now onto OLL, where I'm going to try and deduce what case this is without looking at the different sides. So from the front, I can see that this is a P shape and there's no block here. This means that it must be this algorithm. This provides me with useful practice for an actual solve without having the risk of spending all that time trying to think what case it was. Now onto PLL, where I'm going to practice trying to figure out what the AUF needed is before doing the case. So I know with this specific case, these two pieces are going to have to line up with this, meaning a U is required at the end. This means that at the end of the algorithm, I can instantly do a U without having to think what I need to do for the AUF, which gives me extra practice so that I can put the cube down and stop the timer faster. And if any of these new ideas don't work, then there's no risk, because this is not a proper solve, which is a great way of improving.